Good morning. I am very happy to make this video because it's a distressor. And why am I showing you QClone? But the thing is, I want you to take a look at what these sidechain sections do. This one, it just bypasses the compressor from the low end to the high end, and it will make it inactive completely if you move it to 20K. Well, next to it, you have a little bump that you can place anywhere in the spectrum. It's just a 3 dB bump to enhance the frequency you want to reach first to the threshold of the compressor. And that's what you find right here in the upper left section. In the upper right section is the distortion, or the saturation part of the unit. It has this soft warm harmonics and the squish ones, and then it has a control you can use to reduce or increase the amount of saturation distortion. It also has a low pass filter that affects the entire output signal. That's important because it's going to cut your low end no matter what. To insert it on Pro Tools, you just have to type EXX. The first thing is ratio 1:1. This is meant for you to use it as a saturator, and it's not going to compress. It's just only allowing you to use the character of the unit. Here's where you might want to engage this low pass filter because of all the distortion you get from this section, as well as the sidechain filters, which help you shape the response of the compressor where it acts more. For example, if you move the low pass filter up, it will increase the low end. It won't compress it as much. Now let's add some ratio and see the compressor. As with most compressors, when release is at minimum, you will notice that the signal is super compressed. And when it's at maximum, it's super punchy. With release happens that at maximum, the signal gets dry. And at minimum, it gets roomy. With a really fast release, also the compressor self-oscillates and creates distortion. But this is a property of compression. It has nothing to do with the saturation section at the top. Now, the British mode. This engages a ratio similar to all buttons in an 1176 and moves automatically attack to the fastest position and release to the middle, which is the starting point for parallel compression, which is the way you typically use the all buttons in an 1176. This doesn't mean that you cannot change attack. If you add some attack, then you might get it super punchy and you may ruin your transients. Now notice how as you leave the low end out with the high pass filter, it starts to raise and starts to be uncompressed. If you add this 3 dB bump around the area with the snare ace, you can compress more the snare, for example. One detail about the British mode is that it won't show in the ratio section. No matter where your ratio is, it will be all buttons in. On the other side, with the optical setting, it will go straight to 10:1, and then the attack is going to go to the maximum and the release to the minimum. That doesn't mean you cannot modify attack and release. That's why this compressor is so versatile. Though, if you want to use it like an opto compressor, you just adjust input and output. Finally, you can engage parallel compression within the same plugin with the dry wet knob. For example, if you reduce the attack and increase the release, add a lot of compression, maybe a high ratio. In this case, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And then move the dry wet node back to the dry position. You will get a lot of the compression mixed with the dry signal. And well, there you go. Maybe we could British mode if it's a drum.